Mr. Boo.
Hello and good morning on this spooky wet Halloween day. I'm Mr. Boo, entertainment guru, and I just had to do another walk with me, talk with me, because we are walking, but we are talking F.n.a.f. That's right, Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie, came out last night on Peacock and in theaters. And as soon as I got home, we popped the streaming service on and we loaded up the movie. And I'm just gonna give you my quick thoughts on it. I thought that it was good. And I know it's getting a lot of mixed reviews. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was definitely good. It was entertaining. First thing I'm gonna say and I'm gonna mention is the acting was really good. The animatronics, Jim Henson's Creature Studio, they looked how they should have looked, and they moved how they should have moved. I'm a kid who grew up with Chuck E. Cheese, and that's why I like Five Nights at Freddy's, and I gotta tell you, they were definitely what I would say nightmare fuel. It could have been scarier. They could have been scarier. But with a PG-13 rating, I think they did what they needed to do with the time limit of the movie. People said it was too long. I think it was like right where it needed to be. People are complaining it wasn't rated R and it wasn't gory. Does it have to be? I mean, I'm a big fan of gore. I mean, heck, I just watched the last episode for this year, part 4 of Chucky, which is part 1 of season 3. The strike cut it in half. It's confusing. But speaking of being in half, there are things in Five Nights at Freddy's that people will want to see, like what happens when someone gets bit by one of these machines. I think that it had a great story. People said it wasn't funny enough. There was a whole segment that was actually highlighting some comedy and the fact that they were spirits of children inhabiting these big animatronics. I never really beat but like one night on one Five Nights at Freddy's game, but I've watched YouTubers play it and everything, and everyone's like, oh, the lore was too hard to come by and blah 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 blah. And it's, well, for one, my wife has never played the games. She's a fan, but she's never played the game. She's kind of watched stuff here and there. She followed it just perfectly fine, she said. And my child, who's only 14, which is another reason the PG-13 rating is kind of cool, because it's something you can watch with your family on Halloween in October or whenever you watch these kind of things. But they're a big fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. They go into the fan lore, they go into the real lore, they follow Scott Cawthorn's, stories. I do have a couple books. They have a couple books. We followed it just fine, and we liked how they pulled things from the books, from the games, added in their own touch on it. I mean, how are you going to hate on something that is Scott Cawthorn's creation? It says his name 3 times in the openings. I don't understand why people want to gripe and complain. Again, I gotta say, it's a video game adaptation. How often do we get a good one of those? Even Netflix decided to go a different way with The Witcher and lost. They lost their Geralt. So not everything is going to be a perfect adaptation, and I would definitely have to say that I at least would give this movie a 4.5 out of 5, because it is fun. I did see some comedy. The atmosphere was great. They brought everything to life in a way that you would want to see it. If those things were CGI, I tell you right now, I wouldn't have even given it the time of day, because they wouldn't have had that ambiance that they had when you were a kid and you looked up at Chuck E. Cheese and the things were moving the way that they moved. They were creepy. It was great. It was cool to see the antagonist get his at the end, and how they put kind of a new spin on a tale from the game. And people were kind of mad about, the way that happened. And, from what I'm actually seeing, a lot of the reviews and stuff I don't agree with. And I know the trolls out there are gonna be like, well, we're bigger fans. We've played the games more. Well, that might be true, but I do love movies, and I do gotta give credit where credit is due, and it wasn't bad. I went into this with high hopes. I wasn't disappointed. I thought it was really good. It was well done. Runtime was perfect. The storytelling was good. It was easy to follow. I don't know why people would say it was hard to follow. And even though, there was no blood or gore or guts, like, you got the gist of what was happening, and that's all you really need. I mean, that's how classic horror movies did things. They brought it back. They brought classic back, like Justin brought sexy back. I know right now that's not a great thing to say with what's going on with the whole Britney thing, but hey, they brought classic back, and they stuck with what they wanted. And this was Scott's vision. He threw out script after script after script, and this is what he stuck with. So if you're a fan, why not just give props to Scott? He finally made this movie. He finally got it done. And the only complaint that I have to say that I have is no Markiplier cameo. He was too busy. His schedule didn't coincide with it. Hey, it is what it is. No Marky move. Maybe in the next one we'll get a Markiplier. I like how it was set up kind of for a sequel in a couple ways. I like that there's a mysterious presence around one of the animatronics. Like, you only really see that animatronic as an animatronic once in the movie. I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, it wasn't like fantastic, but like I said, it was good. It was good enough for what it was. It was a starting point for what could be a trilogy, and what really needs to be a trilogy. Now that the antagonist is going to become a kind of different kind of antagonist. For those of you who play, you know who that is, and you know who he becomes. But that's my view. Who cares if it's not rated R? It did its job. Who cares about the runtime? That did its job. And who cares about the story when it's Scott Cawthorn's story, dudes and dudettes? So on that note, I say it's good. 4.5, maybe 4.5, somewhere around there. I'm undecided, but I do want to watch it again. It is really good. And with that note, I will say, I will say that keep surviving night after night. Watch your power grids, watch your cameras, and keep those doors closed when you see your fox running down that hall. And until then, if you survive 5 nights, and I survived 5 nights, I will see you another day or night. Peace out.